SimRacing, Scuderia Ferrari Edition, the heart of the race.
Okay. Yeah.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the World Championship tier of SimRacing. We've already had the Pro and Academy races go on today, but now this is where the big boys get on the track. We have got 56 laps here of the Chinese Grand Prix, the Shanghai International Circuit, and well, it is going to be an absolute scorcher. I'm Corey Dyer in the commentary booth, joined by Felix van Delft. And Felix, how excited are you for this?
I'm very excited. We've seen, like you said, two very exciting races already. The Pro and Academy race earlier today, and I'm sure that's already a promising prospect for what the World Championship drivers will be able to offer us today.
Yeah, definitely. Let's have a little look then. 56 laps around here, 5.451 kilometers a lap, and these 16 turns that we're going to see can really put a driver through its paces, what with the long straights, DRS zones on them as well to help with the overtaking and those real tricky turns to be able to navigate and, of course, keep that grip going. Having a little look through on these cars then, because as I've had a little talk about that, Felix, 933 brake horsepower with top speed of 370 kph. Let's not even throw in the acceleration that these cars have. They are wicked fast, aren't they?
They definitely are, and especially in the hands of some of these drivers, these cars can be extremely quick, especially around tracks like these here in Shanghai. I'm sure we'll see some very exciting stuff gonna happen on track with these cars today.
Yep. Of course, let's have a little look at what happened in the last race here. Straight up, your points from last time, Jerne Simčić coming out blisteringly on top. He was the one to grab podium. Then, pole. Then you got Pierre Bergerac, who came out second for Edge Esports. Martin Gosby coming up third in the ACR Zaxby Blue. Michael De Sandro coming in fourth. Geoffrey Fournier coming fifth. Michi Hoyer sixth. Mohammed Patel in seventh. Danny Van Den Eet eighth. Sander Kalas coming in ninth. And then to round out the points, Yuri Kastorp coming in 10th. It was a brilliant race, and it has set up ACR Zaxby just on a brilliant first opening weekend. What with them having 33 points here, Felix?
Yeah, ACR Zaxby have done a great job in the first race. throughout all series, by the way. They've won all races so far, them and their sister team. They've won every single race that's been held within the FSR this season so far. So they're on an extremely good run so far. But will they be able to hold that run today here? Because it's looking like it's going to be not so easy as it was in Melbourne for the ACR drivers.
Let's just get on to the track then, have a look at these drivers, because coming up in second is Edge Esports and the one Alessi Esports Academy. And I can tell you, Mikel D'Alessandro from the Alessi Academy is already up there at a 131, topping what he had done in practice nonetheless. Yoni Simčić and Alessandro, the only two that I was able to see throughout all of the practices to get a 131, and they pulled out here. The problem, though, for Simčić is that Alessandro's teammate Patel has also been able to do it, throwing in the 131s. So suddenly these drivers, when it comes to crunch time, are able to pull out some wicked fast pace.
Yeah, it's looking very good for Jean Alesi Esports Academy right now with Michele D'Alessandro on the provisional pole, but the gap is very small to Jone Simčić, and Jone Simčić is known to be pretty quick in qualifying. He's shown that last year, the years before as well, and also, of course, in Melbourne this year already, where he took pole position as well.
Yeah, and you can see Simčić actually on an outlap at the moment. Gonna keep my eye on him, I think, here, Felix, as he has just come across the grid straight. Let's see how he is going to be setting this up. And let's have a little look through these turns, of course. The massive straight up to the so-renowned turn one. This absolute sweeper going slightly uphill. And then when you get to turn two, it comes back down into turn three. This is where grip is at the most important. You can even see Simčić having to wiggle his car through there just a tiny bit as it gets onto near enough a pseudo straight up to 5, and then round 2-6, where you got to really slam on the brakes here to get back around. Try and use as much of this curve as you possibly can to try and get that car up to speed 4-7, which of course in these qualifying situations quite often is just flat out. The same here through 8, to where you've got to slow it down really an immense amount to bring it through 9th, perfectly into 10th, to which you've got another straight. There are so many of these dinky little straights around here for you to be able to try and get a cheeky maneuver. As you go into 11th, this is where the DRS activation point is, around 12 and 13 to get onto the longest straight I know on any track, to the point where the DRS zone is going to be hitting just now. You can see those boards halfway down. If you had DRS the whole way along there, Felix, it'd just be too OP, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it's a very long straight, and in qualifying it will give the drivers quite a lot of top speed. 224 kilometers an hour there for Jone Simčić.
Yeah, from just coming around turn 16 for Simčić. Let's have a little looky-loo at where he placed it. He did get the best sector 2 up on that board, and yes, that's going to be an improvement on sector 3 as he just pops himself 1/10 ahead of Alessandro, putting himself back where he wants to be this season, on top.
Definitely great lap from Simčić, and Mohamed Patel and Michele D'Alessandro have work to do now.
Indeed, I can see Patel's just on an outlap, I do believe, of his own, just from how gently he's taking this around the corners.
I think it's a hot lap. I think it's a hot lap. Two sectors.
It's a hot lap?
Yeah, for sure. Sector 1, green. Sector 2, green. He seems to be about as quick as Michele D'Alessandro, his teammate, but I don't think he's going to be as quick as Jone Simčić, because he was almost 2/10 slower than him in the first two sectors. Last sector can still change things, of course.
Yeah, and whilst we were just on board with Simčić before, Gosby was able to pop himself onto the second row of the grid, coming in third. That's very wide out there for Patel. Yeah, he knows it, already cutting. It's unfortunate there, is all I can say for that. Just that exit not favouring him.
Indeed, the AstroTurf is really not forgiving there on the exit of the last corner. If you go a little bit too wide onto the curb even pulls you back to the right a little bit onto that AstroTurf. And once you hit that, your lap is, in qualifying, definitely your lap is over.
It was an interesting one here, because from looking through practice, Felix, I was noticing some of these other drivers really struggling on qualifying pace, just purely because throttle management around this track is so hard. Going from turn 2 into turn 3 and then, you know, sweeping it around there is so hard to do at such a high pace that I've seen some of these drivers spin out in practice quite a lot where they're just trying to find that perfect sort of mark. However, when it came to race pace, I saw a lot of these drivers trying out the hardest compound, which we haven't seen yet, have we? The actual hard tire.
Correct. The hard compound is definitely going to be used this race. I'm almost 100% sure that we're going to see strategies that include that harder tire. We've seen in the lower categories, Academy and the Pro category, that it's one of the most used tires. In Pro, we had basically the whole grid using the hard tires at least once in the race. So I guess it's going to be a very popular tire here today as well.
Sandro, just to keep eyes on, has started his hot lap coming through turn 2 right now. Just going to enter turn 3. A 10th can be made up from him here. I'm seeing him just really trying to focus on the position on track. Maybe that's where he might have lost a bit of time, for his previous quickest lap was just purely down to not hitting the apexes right. We'll have to see as Jerne Simčić is just behind him. He's only a little bit down the road, a few turns back. So, of course, these two will be able to size each other up pretty quickly. They're just outside of ice shot, though. So, Simčić won't know what's going on up ahead. I'm sure they both got their eyes on RaceView, though, on a second monitor, because Alessandro has just set the fastest first sector, gone faster than his previous best in Sector 2. So, everything considered, this could be a pole lap right now. Of course, Simčić owns the previous Sector 2 and Sector 3 fastest times, and he is going slower this lap, which is super unfortunate for him. Sandro just going to be let past. A good little assumption there. He was going faster, so of course let him on through. And unfortunately, this is looking like a little bit of a tricky back Sector 3. We'll have to see how much time was gained from the earlier sectors. He is just coming up to the line. We'll cross it, and we will be giving you a quick update because that is the fastest Sector 3.
Boy.
Blimey.
You could see it. The driver in front of Michele D'Alessandro was his teammate, Mohamed Patel. They were slipstreaming down the main straight, or down the back straight, and it gave him, 2.5 tenths compared to Jerne Simčić. Great teamwork there by the Jean Alesi Esports Academy drivers.
And I've just seen as well, Simčić just up in his pace by an extra 10th as well. And he was slower in the first two sectors. It was purely that third sector, which I'm looking at it now. And Simčić is roughly about 3 tenths down in that last sector. Sectors 1, he's slow. He's about 700ths. He's 1.3 tenths up in Sector 2, but that Sector 3 is his big letdown. Simčić could, I don't know, maybe get on the phone to his teammate, Michi Hoare, and just say, right, I need you to set me up this, straight like they've obviously done. And we could see him in this last stint be able to top it, because that is some blistering pace, and it is literally that third sector which Alessandro and Patel had done a masterclass of a plan to set up.
Yeah, great stuff there from the Jean Alesi Esports drivers. And Patel will be, I believe, starting his lap right now. So
he's actually coming in from his hot lap. He's got two sectors, first sector and second sector, up on his previous time. Let's see what he does for Sector 3. Unfortunately, no movement. He does, unfortunately, have a bad third sector there. I just saw it 200ths down his previous record. And so he won't be moving anywhere from that. To add a little bit of salt to the wound, Petr Berjak has just upped him and got onto the second row of the grid. So Patel down to the third row.
Indeed, his sister teammate, Petr Berjak, taking that fourth position for now. All of the drivers now have only one attempt left in this qualifying session. And I think the first driver that is going to set his lap time is going to be Michele D'Alessandro, current pole sitter.
Yeah, and keep an eye on him, of course, because he's just coming around turn 2 and 3.
He's on outlap as well.
then it's got to be Jerne Simčić. And
Yeah,
I
could
thought
well
was
be.
just on his outlap as well, which he is, of course, and he will be the first one to set up. A little bit slow, trying to get as much ground as he can through turn 14 into 15. Set himself up for as much pace to go across the grid with. The Chinese circuit is so wide, it almost seems, and like the straights are so long, it almost seems like these cars are slow. It's really odd, you know?
Yeah, it's a very big circuit, although a lot of runoff areas as well, but it's definitely not an easy circuit, as it may seem like that because it looks a bit slower. It's definitely a difficult circuit, and a lot of drivers struggle here. And for sure, also World Championship drivers will be struggling here, some of them.
Yeah, I'm definitely expecting a good number of, say, spin-outs where drivers have gone onto the throttle a little bit too hard. That's quite a common thing you see around China. But with those runoffs, it's a little bit less harsh on your mistakes here because, of course, you'll drop a couple of spots, but it's quite easy to get back on the track. You've got no walls to essentially go into.
Yeah, exactly. It's forgiving, but of course you still lose a lot of time if you spin out. You considering that the pack always in World Championship is very close. The midfield is always extremely close to each other, as we've always also seen. Ooh, Simčić indeed going for the slipstream strategy with Gosby there.
I don't think Gosby knew he wasn't set up perfectly. He wasn't going fast enough to essentially receive it. So it was only a little bit of slipstream game, just keeping an eye on race view as well. Simčić got green in sector 1, but it is an horrid white in sector 2 and sector 3. That is the rear wing off. He's lucky that he'll get reset for the actual race, but that means he cannot grab pole position here. He cannot get up to the top. Looking at Sandro as well, he's just gone off. So those two have done their fastest laps. There is no more to be gained from them. Gotta hope that someone else might be able to topple them off the top. I'm looking maybe back down to Petr Perjak, who could maybe do it. Patel, I mean, he doesn't have his teammate to give him the, boost. But talking about Perjak, he's just set the he set himself a new PB, a new green in sector 1. Unfortunately, Patel going white in sector 1 as well. So seemingly they have found their pace and just unfortunately not going to be able to exceed it.
I see something happening here. Michele D'Alessandro close to Patel, coming up to the straight. Here we go again.
That is it. He's given a little bit back. Give and take this relationship between the two lads. They've been teammates for so long. Last season, you could see it between them, and this season, beautifully gotten out the way. And this is going to be the sort of strategies which are going to get them big points. Great qualifying start, and now they've just got to carry it on through to the race. Because Patel, he's got to be looking dangerous as he comes across that grid, and he is going straight up to third. He has reclaimed that second row back. Martin Godsby is well going to be beside him. This race is going to be so interesting. What with team strategy really coming into it?
It definitely is. We're being treated already here in this qualifying session. Good strategies from the Jean Alesi team, and the ACR is gonna have to try and work out something to get them back in the race.
Oh yeah, they can't just rely on Jerne's prowess, his driving prowess, which of course gets him a lot of fans, just basically being able to be the fastest. Yeah. But he is just incredible, the team strategy and just that synergy really coming out from the Juan Alesi Academy, where they can just come up with a strategy hit there, and you could see the amount of difference it made on this track. An easy nearly 2 temps gained just from a bit of slipstream along that straight. That could also imply the strength of slipstream and when it comes to the actual race. So, Felix, I think we've got to go head on over to a break and get the actual race set up. But I am definitely excited for this one, are you?
I definitely am too.
All right, so with that, we will be heading on over to the break. Guys, don't go anywhere unless it is to pop over to the kitchen, grab yourself a nice cool-in refreshment, and we shall be back in a little bit. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and it is almost time for the race to begin. We've got all the cars into the pits, refueled them up, of course, to the max amount, and now they're just going around doing their little warm-ups, getting a little bit ready, getting all nimble on that for the race, because it was an exciting qualification. I'm Corey Dyer in the casting booth, joined by Felix van Delft. And Felix, should we give a little rundown of the qualifiers?
Yeah, let's do that. We've had, like you said, an extremely nice qualifying session. I'm just getting the result up here. We saw that some interesting tactics between the Jean LAC Esports Academy drivers, that they were slipstreaming down the back straight, and that gave Michele D'Alessandro the pole position, which definitely was helped by his teammate Patel. And also after that, Michele D'Alessandro gave the favor back to Mohammed Patel by giving the slipstream to Mohammed Patel, and Patel managed to get to P3. So let's go down that grid. Michele D'Alessandro in P1, then after that Jonas Simoncic, Mohammed Patel in P3, Martin Gospi in P4, Petar Brojek in P5, Arne Schoonvliet in P6, in P7 Michi Hoyer, P8 it's Robin Pansar and Wojciech Lukacek is P9. Rounding out the top 10 will be Peo Pieve, and then P11 Daniel Kish, P12 Giordano Valeriano, and P13 Steven Michaels. Then Yuri Kastorp in P14, Jeffrey Fournier in P15, Callas in P16, Van der Niet in P17. Then in P18 it's Bojan Bogdanov, with P19 Christian Lazaro, and P20 Ricardo Costa, P21 Janos Brakchuk, P22 is then Jos Araneda, rounding up the grid.
Yeah, we've got 3 drivers starting from the back due to penalties served over from Australia. So, of course, they didn't run in qualifying. There's very little point for them. But we've seen what a couple of those guys can do. Like, I'm just going to say Brakchuk here. He might be starting from the back, from 21st, so the back line in the grid, but you could definitely see him even climb up into the points if he plays his cards right today with the right strategy, couldn't we, Felix?
Yeah, definitely. And also Ricardo Costa, we saw him being very competitive in the midfield last race in Australia, but unfortunately he got caught up in an incident and didn't finish the race. But he looked very promising, and I think if he gets the good strategy done here today as well, I think he's definitely a challenger for a top 10 position.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be a hard one for him. We can't say anything else, purely because, like we said, with the loads of runoffs that you've got here at China, we're not expecting any massive crashes like we did in Australia, where a good few drivers got knocked out that grid. Here, you would expect the climb to be a lot harder for him, so he's got to just hope that he can play a really strong race. And it's doubtful for a 1 pit stop, I reckon. Even though you will be on the hardest tyre, going from that hard to the medium, that still could be quite difficult to get to the whole race on.
Yeah, 56 laps. We've seen in Melbourne that basically everybody did 2-stop. I think today is not going to be much different. We saw in Pro that 1-stop was possible. That's 45 laps, so 10 laps, 11 laps less than what these drivers have to achieve. So I think we're going to see the 2-stop with the top 10 runners starting on the soft tire, then going to either a hard and then a medium, or twice the medium. That's gonna be very difficult to call right now, because a lot of these things will vary with how much drivers are gonna have to push their tires. If there are small incidents, how much are they going to fight with each other? That's all varies how much fuel they're going to use as well, and then how much tire wear comes from that.
Well, it's definitely, yeah, like you said, you've either got the choice of starting on the softs, and then you would hope be able to eke out. Some of the better drivers might be able to do 2 mediums, but we're expecting the full range to be used essentially here in a 2 pit stop strategy. These guys that are starting on the hards will probably have to do hard and then 2 mediums. If they can as well do the full range, that'd be great to sort of finish up on a soft, maybe try and climb a little spot at the end. But strategy is one which us as commentators are quite happy we don't have to actually come up and deal with. It's the drivers down on the track and their managers that have to deal with that. Us, we just get to sit back and watch, don't we?
We do indeed. And the viewers at home might be wondering what's happening. A slight reset of the grid needed to be done because Mohammed Patel wasn't in the right position. Is fixed right now, so we will be getting on the way with the formation lap very shortly.
Yeah, looking at the timer on our end, they've got 20 seconds to hop onto the grid, and then the formation lap will be getting underway. You can see the first of the cars getting into their little spots. Almost like magic in a lot of sense, just like them all just popping up in their little grid spots.
Yeah,
loving it.
Well, that's how esports works. It doesn't have the inconvenience of having to manually take the car to the grid and make sure all the tires are there, and it's all done automatically for you. Very easy for these drivers.
So quickly, just as this formation lap gets underway here, Felix, talking about tires, of course, all top 10 have to start on that soft tire, which they finished on. But I was looking at this, Daniel Kiss is starting on the hardest tire. Actually, I've just got a little graphical bug or whatever on my end where they're all on the hardest tire for some reason.
Should update within the next few seconds, hopefully.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm guessing that Kish, if I were Kish, I would start on the soft. Because you're like P10, the drivers in front of you still have the soft tire, and drivers behind you will have the hard tire. So it's difficult to be the first of the hard tire.
He
runners.
is on the hard. I'm just looking for it now, and it is stuck to him on the hard. He's got Giordano Vigliano behind him on the softs in P12. Stephen Michaels will then be picking the medium. Everyone else throughout the rest of the grid are on hard, apart from Jos Neda, right at the back, who is on those mediums, essentially. Which is going to be, I reckon, the midfield, just by looking at that, could be quite a tasty little fight.
Definitely. We've seen it in the 2 lower categories as well. Up until the last lap, different strategies were fighting with each other. In the pro category, literally on the last corner, there was an overtake because of different strategies, which is promising to see for the World Championship. Obviously, the strategies are a bit more complicated because there's 11 more laps compared to pro. So let's see what these teams decide on, what they will do. Will they work together? Will they go for a 2-stop? Will they go for longer stints? Undercut, overcut, everything's possible here.
Yeah, and that is up until the moment, you don't know whether the undercut is what will work or if it's the overcut, or whether you just want to be sort of stuck behind. You see the driver in front of you dart into the pits, whether you just follow them in and try and just keep behind them as close and then overtake them the good old-fashioned way. So many questions to be asked as drivers are just starting to make their way around back to the grid. Coming up to the last turn is D'Alessandro. We should be getting on the way within the next half minute, really.
Yes, we should. Alessandro wants, of course, to have his tires as warm as possible and his brakes as warm as possible coming into turn 1. If they're too cold, he's just going to go straight forward.
Yeah, for the guys at home that might have not seen it as much, there wasn't as much wiggling this season around, was it? Because fuel is such a luxury. From the way you guys have changed it, you're going to see a lot of fuel conservation as well. Just had a look as well. Ricardo Costa seems to be taking his start from the pits. So he must have elected to do that. But without further ado, Felix, looks like the lights are just about to go out.
They indeed are.
So on board, going to be keeping our eyes directed to the front of the pack, of course, because any second they will be dashing off up to turn 1. 5 lights are there. Now they're gone, and we are underway. Mikel D'Alessandro, a brilliant little start. You can see already trying to dart across and cut him off, but no, Jurnej Simoncic with the inside. A little bit of a touch, it seemed, down to Alessandro Patel, just beside him, trying to cut off the rest of the pack, as Martin Gosby and Peter Bergek are fighting for fourth. Dimitrich is near enough, darting off into the lead. He's not going to get that far with Alessandro just closing in on behind. Arnie Schulze has made his way up to P5 as well. Martin Gosby's got to be careful there as both Veljak and Schulze are really close behind him. Michi Hoyer up to P7. Lukaszek going to be cruising in P8. Robin Panzer tries his darndest, but he's up to P9. This is definitely an interesting one. Arnie Schulze has done brilliantly here. I know I've got that name wrong, Felix. Correct me, please.
Arne Schoonvliet is it in Dutch correctly. But he did a great job at the start. Capitalized from the battles that were happening in front of him between Martin Gosby and Petar Broljak. But you have to give credit to Jurnej Simonic. He got the better run off the line compared to Michele Alessandro and is in the lead of this race now. The Jean LAC guys have to work together now to try and catch Jurnej Simonic once again, because I'm sure he's going to be pushing hard to try and run away as fast as possible from these guys.
That drag reduction purely from slipstream. We've seen Patel move up into second. He's now ahead of Alessandro, and we're going to have to see how this plays out, because you can see those two are trying to chain off each other and catch up onto Simčić, who, of course, is going to be using a lot more fuel here. You can see that, obviously, just from that pure speed he's putting down, because they're all following very similar lines. But, of course, Jurnej knows he doesn't have a teammate that close to him, does he? Now,
Indeed.
look at that. He's got Martin Gosby all the way back in 6th, and then Michi Hoyer in 7th. I'm saying Gosby because they showed earlier they worked together to try and get those slipstreams set up. But yeah, when he's sort of off in the ocean and he's got a couple of sharks swimming beside him, you can see there's a little bit of worry there. There's already Patel is looking to just put on the pressure with Alessandro, just quietly staying behind quite nicely.
Yeah, I guess Alessandro just gave off the torch to Patel to take the hard work and now get past Jurnej Simonic for me, please. I'm sure Patel will be trying to get as close, or at least keep as close as possible to Jurnej Simonic, because right now there's no DRS yet. Next lap is going to be the 3rd lap, then the DRS will be enabled for them. So I guess Patel, he's got some slipstream now. I don't think he's going to be able to make the move yet, unless he makes a deep dive into turn 14.
That's a lot of moves up in the midfield. 3 cars wide coming up to turn 13. Michi Hoyer making his way up to P5.
Patel,
alongside Gosby, though, nearly going in to Schulze. I've got that name wrong again. The
don't
English
worry
tongue,
about
don't work on it.
Mohamed Patel just took the lead in turn 14, made the move up the inside, very close and very late, but Simonic managed to stay away from hitting Patel and other way around as well, of course.
Alessandro just going into the rear end of Simonic as well. Expecting him to break a little bit later. Hope there's not any front wing damage for Alessandro there, because that was just simple racing accidents. As well, he is trying to get the overtake in now. They're, of course, wanting a quicker first stint, but Simčić, he is defending something rotten here. You can see Patel already running off into the distance, wanting to get ahead, so that maybe Simčić can't get that DRS next lap. But Simčić, he's quite happy to hand that first place over, because he knows it's going to be a hard one to hold on here.
It definitely is not going to be easy for Simčić to keep going here. He's got pressure from behind, and it's difficult because got difficulties to keep up with Alessandro right now. It's already the gap down to 1.2 seconds out of the DRS range as well. Struggling Jurnej Simonic right now.
Yeah, I wonder if his tyres were just not up to it with flat spot throughout.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just told out. really close behind Alessandro, and Michi Hoyer, he's trying to close in. He's just outside of DRS at the moment, so he's got to find near enough 2 attempts to get back into that window by the time he comes around to turn 11, really, so that he can get that DRS and catch up with the group, because otherwise that would be a massive gap between P4 and 5, and Michi Hoyer does not want that. Jone Simoncic doesn't want that because he needs Hoyer's help here up front.
He definitely needs his help. He's got 2 drivers that are not particularly fond of him, at least not on the track right now. Right behind him, that will be pressuring him very much. DRS will open up for Michele D'Alessandro right here, coming on to the main or the back straight right now. So his DRS will open. Right behind him is Petr Brljak as well on P4. His DRS will open, coming down the main straight or the back straight. Seems that both of them are saving a bit of fuel, actually, not going for the move right now on Jone Simoncic.
But they still were able to close up quite a bit of space. Going to be looking at that as they come across the grid. Just how much time did they make up that last lap, you know? And once again, they're going to be able to get a second bite of DRS here. Having a quick look, Alessandro going only about 5/100ths faster that lap. Not a massive amount gained, but Petr Brljak setting the purple in that lap. So, and they're all within 1/10 of each other. This front 5 are super close. It just feels like Michi Hoyer is a little bit too downstream. He needs to put in qualifying pace or something now, you know, put on a little bit of race boost to catch up and then go back into conserving.
Yeah, indeed. Michi Hoyer just about a second behind the car in front of him, Petr Brljak, right now, which is a bit too far to really get an advantage of the car in front of him. Right now, seems like Jone Simoncic is getting a little bit closer again to Mohammed Patel. The gap was 1.4 seconds last time across the line, and right now it's 1.1. I don't think he has DRS this time around, coming onto the back straight.
I reckon he will have the DRS. We'll have to see here because it's super close. There it is, Simoncic with DRS. He just set purple in Sector 2. That's why I was calling it out. And in Sector 2 alone, he was just over 2 tenths faster to be able to close it on out. He was proper close. We're talking he was 0.95 down on Patel, but it's just close enough for him to be able to get the DRS. But you can see there, after turn 14, not within a second.
Gosby has dropped further back down as well, by the way. He is now behind Arne Schoonvliet. Arne doing a really great job so far. This is his debut season here for Ground Effect SimRacing. And up to P6 in the second race of the season. Properly great job from Arne so far in this race.
He's got 3 drivers right behind him that want to knock him down, which is going to be another little tussle, which I'm quite excited to have a look at. Because Martin Gosby is going to be the first one you can tell who will give it a little try. Another good indicator here, actually, Geoffrey Fournier being able to get up to P11. He started on the grid at P15, so he's had a little bit of climb already and is just within touching distance of the points.
Ooh, Schoonvliet makes a mistake there. Makes a mistake coming out of turn 10 and now is under pressure from Martin Gosby. Manages to keep Gosby behind until turn 11 and 12, but I don't think he's gonna cope. Ooh, you see that rear is really loose. Coming out of turn 13, he's drifting basically through that corner, and that's gonna give Martin Gosby the easy overtake there. And Wojciech Lukacek right behind, I think is also going to have a look.
I'm loving this snaking on the straight where no one wants to give up any of the slipstream. They move off to the side because they don't want to hand it on over. All the cars follow them over. It's just a beautiful sort of like, I'm trying to think, like a slinky, you know? Where essentially it's just moving back and forth on that straight. Whereas these guys are just chasing each other, and that is a long train from 6th all the way up to, I believe that is even 13th with Stephen Michaels at the back of that. That is a massively long train of cars there.
Yes, indeed. I think for some of these drivers, the rear tires are starting to wear out. Michi Hoyer, I just was looking at him as well. had a bit of a slide out of turn 4 and 5, which is not looking good. Only 6 laps done in this race. This is the 7th lap, and if you're already struggling so badly with the rear tires, it's gonna be a difficult race for you, because I think the main front runners will be going to at least lap 10, maybe even further before their first pit stop.
Eyes on what's going on about. I'm having a look at the midfield. Geoffrey Fournier, talked about him earlier. He has caught up with Giordano Villarano. And hopefully he's going to be trying to make a little bit of an overtake. But the problem is he's got Yuri Kastorp, who, for me, right now, is probably a little bit lower than expectations on this driver. You know, you'd expect him to already be in the points, but today he hasn't exactly turned up yet. Race pace is going to be key for him, I think.
Yep, it is. So the mid-pack still very close, all the way from P6 down to P14. Well, P13, 14 is a bit of a gap. But all these drivers have the potential to challenge for a top 10. And they will definitely be doing so. And Martin Gosby is leading that pack for now with the soft tires. The drivers behind him, though, are... some of them are on the hard compound, so they theoretically could be on the better strategy compared to him right now.
That's it. For those on the hard tyres for you guys at home, is Geoffrey Fournier and Yuri Kastorp. Stephen Michaels, who brings up the back of the pack, is on mediums. Yep. So those 3 guys are actually in quite a nice spot themselves here. Like, if they can get an overtake, they'll take it. If not, they've still got the sort of upper hand, because those tyres will be able to go further than their opponents. I'm sort of here thinking about, okay, Gosby has been able to keep ahead quite comfortably, considering he's got no DRS. He's got to be burning a lot more fuel than the guys behind him, doesn't he?
Yeah, definitely. That's the big deal, especially with the long straights you have here. If you can open that DRS on the straights, you will save like 10, maybe even 20% of fuel on that straight only. So it's a big deal, and Gosby needs to be careful with that.
Yeah, I was just there. Essentially, like you said, 10-20% of fuel. So you can theoretically go around this track, and just on the straights alone, from using DRS and turning down your engine mode, your fuel usage, you can use up so little so that when it comes to later on, you can get a charge. I've just seen Lucas Zek make it out on the outside of turn 14, holds it through onto the inside of turn 16 and gets ahead. Behind him, Arnie is having a nightmare as Robin Panzar on the inside now into turn 1. He's going to be able to take it. 2 places lost in a matter of seconds for Arnie Schulze. A nightmare for this lad.
Yeah, I gave him the praise earlier on, but it seems that his tire wear, at least on the rear tire, it is really a disadvantage for him right now. He's dropped 2 places in the last lap, and we saw him struggling a lot already 1 or 2 laps ago with that rear end of his car, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's coming in for a pit stop in the next 1 or 2 laps.
And the problem, the knock-on effect of that, is Martin Gosby is now just down the road. Oh, he's unfortunately
just made a mistake.
A little, went over the grass. You just saw the repeat there. Trying to look who it was from. It was from Arnie Schoenfeld. So talking about him, he's now under attack from Giordano Villarano. So careful there, lad. He's got to be coming into the pits relatively soon. Gosby, I don't think, will get much hurt from the tyres there. That seemed like he controlled it quite nicely by putting it across the grass. But he had lost about 1.5, 2 seconds there. And you can already see Lucas Zek trying it on the inside. Not enough yet, but comes to that grid straight, it could be harmful for him.
Arne Schoonvliet is getting swarmed right now. 3 cars that are looking to overtake him. Let's see, what is he gonna do? He is staying out still, even though he's losing so much places. Lost another place there to Giordano Valeriano. Now Geoffrey Fournier together with Yuri Kastorp, very close going into turn 1. A bit of contact made. They managed to keep it pointed in the right direction, but that was very close to ending in disaster for those 2 drivers.
It was, especially when grip is coming down to such a premium now. These guys could quite easily take each other out. Geoffrey Fournier probably not so happy with what's going on in front of him, all this sliding about from Arnie, but oh, side by side, pushing him right to the edge, but they're still making contact. That looks like two tyres are locked. Fournier coming off just okay, but there must be a little bit of damage from that.
Yeah, you could see the tires getting locked together. Not much any of the drivers could do, but Arne Schoonvliet has lost another 3 positions in this lap. I don't understand why he didn't pit last lap. You could just see that he is so hard, it's so much struggling with the rear tires. I would just come in, put on a set of hard tires and try to somehow undercut a couple of the drivers in front of you instead of just running on these battered set of rear tires and try to regain any of your pace, which is not really happening for Schoonvliet right now.
And especially when looking at how these drivers are split out, you'd be off in your own sort of well driving. So you don't have to worry about any other drivers there. You'll have completely clean air with the early pit stop. And that's pretty much ideal for these guys. Just seen Martin Gosby coming in, the first pitter, definitely going for that undercut. Robin Panzer behind him. These two lads.
Oh, Panzer shares a pit box with Gosby.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a nightmare. Luckily, though, in Formula Racing, the pit stops aren't that long, but that still would have cost Panzer a good 3 odd seconds. Just seeing Arne Schoonvliet. Fortunately, DNF out the race. That damage from earlier, of course, carrying over.
He spun it into the pit lane. He basically, well, I wouldn't say I did a Hamilton, but he did the opposite. Instead of putting it in the gravel, he spun on the entry of the pit lane and then decided, okay, never mind, I'm going home today.
Yeah, unfortunate stuff there for him. We did see there was a little bit of a crash earlier on. We haven't been able to get an idea of what exactly happened there because we have now lost 6 drivers, unfortunately. It was an accident on turn number 1. Can see a lot of suspension damage accumulated there. So as the grid goes so far, Mohamed Patel out in first, Yoni Simčić still fine for second, Alessandro in third. He does have Bergerac really close behind him, P4.
This whole pack closed in a lot, and Michele D'Alessandro is the first of that front runners to pit. This is exciting. Where is he going to come out? Is he going to have free air to make an undercut work, or is he going to get stuck in the mid-pack?
If I'm Patel here, I'm going to want to try and slow down Simčić behind. Play that team strategy.
Definitely you would want that. Of course, he doesn't want to hurt his own race, so if he slows himself down too much, he might lose the position to Michele D'Alessandro, because I'm sure he wants to help his teammates as much as he can, but he still wants to win this race as well. So it's a bit of a two-sided face.
We're talking a second across the lap here. I'm not saying like just park the bus.
Of course.
But yeah, we've also seen a lot of other drivers coming in, such as Michi Hoyer, Lucas Jek, Valeriano, come all in, and just having a quick look across them all here, Felix. We are seeing the hard tyres being the one chosen. So, game plan for Patel, like we said, probably trying to slow us down for Simčić. Maybe try and go for the overcut now. Try and get these tyres to last as long as possible. Or just come in for the pits this lap. It's going to be a tricky one for him to figure out.
Yeah, he's going to have to defend from Simčić maybe even this lap. No, I don't think so. Simčić doesn't really have the top speed. I think Patel will be coming in this lap because he doesn't want to lose too much time compared to Michele D'Alessandro. But I might be wrong here. Let's see what he does. Entry pit lane.
Yes. Wide. Yeah.
Simčić stays out though.
So Simčić, like I said, going for that overcut. Try and stay out and get a blistering fast lap here. Because last time, Simčić put down a 1:37.75. So like I said, Patel had slowed him down by a whole second near enough. You can tell that upon Petr Bergerac behind him being able to go a whole second up. So this now will be quite interesting to see where Mohamed Patel comes out in relation.
It's very close, right in front of Michele D'Alessandro. And Petr Bergerac is right behind Michele D'Alessandro. So
Alessandra's going to get let through here, isn't he, on the next straight? Because he's got the warmer tyres.
maybe. I'm not sure if Patel will be doing that. If he's the team player like we think he is, he might, but it doesn't seem like it so far. Now, the interesting call is obviously Journey Simicic. He's leading this race right now, but what is he going to be able to do on the overcut?
Yeah, currently having a quick look at it just to see what the time differential is from Simicic all the way down to Alessandro. rFactor's telling me 23 seconds. That roughly seems they're all going to be on the same line, especially since we know that Patel came out in front of Alessandro. If Simicic has done this right, he could get out the lead here, which would be nuts to see.
Yeah, yeah. Let's see. Michaela's last lap seems to be not that quick actually, compared to what Journey Simicic just did. Let's see. This is interesting. It's very interesting to see where Journey Simicic is gonna come out into. Goes onto the hard tires, of course, just like Mohamed Patel and Michele Alessandro. They just come out of the last corner right now. This is gonna get very close coming onto the start-finish straight. I think he's not gonna have them. Ooh, it's close with Alessandro, but Alessandro just has it.
Yeah, Bergerac might be able to make the best out of this. Look at that side by side, but Bergerac will have the inside line here. He's going to try and stick it, keeping a hold of all the grips. Simicic there on the fresh tyres. They're so cold. He's having to go super wide and is stuck behind Bergerac. Cuts across the grass to try and not make the collision. Simicic, unfortunately, has just been cut. He has been undercut.
Indeed, he has been, and that's a shame for him and ACR Zach Speed. Michi Hoyer is now right behind Jonas Simicic, but still, there's still one pit stop to go after this at least, so perhaps something to gain for them still. But it looks very promising for Jean Alesi Sports Academy and Edge Esports for Peter Boljak as well.
Yeah, definitely both teams have been doing fantastic. We saw Edge last week really perform as well. But Jean Alesi, all props, they've done their prep for China. They know what they're doing here. And look at this straight between turn 13 and 14. So picturesque. Trying to keep my eye up grid as well. Just seeing where, because the guys that are currently sitting between first and sixth were your back markers. These are the guys that started on the harder tyres and haven't appeared yet. So it's quite interesting to see, like we were talking about Geoffrey Fournier there earlier. Unfortunately, he's dropped back a couple of spots, but he's down. He's up in P3. And looking at times, if he was to pit now, he'd be roughly back to where Giordano Villariano is. But
Yeah.
this will be interesting to see how many laps the hard tyre can do.
Yeah, we've seen in the Pro and Academy series that the hards can go around 20, 25 laps. Maybe even longer if they really nerf their tires, maybe even 30. So Kasdorp might, really slim possibility, it might be going for a one stop. Same for some of the other hard tires. If he goes like 30 laps on this stint and then 25 on another medium stint, it's a stretch. Definitely, it's a stretch, but it's not impossible, I think. And maybe somebody's gonna just try it and see how it works out.
That's it. If you try it, you run the risk. It's a bold move, which if it works out, you're going to be rewarded. But if it don't work out, he could drop a fair few spots. But he didn't start off in the point. So really, risk, it can only go up, you know, because it's only the first top 10 places that get points here. And you're going to fight your hardest to get up there.
Exactly.
Looking down for P7. Sandro getting past Danny Vandenit. Patel as well got ahead. So Patel's up in P6. Janis Brakshok, who we said maybe could do what Yuri Kastorp is trying to do, hasn't really impressed this race, unfortunately. He's been quite quiet at the back. Maybe he could do that. Like, the reason why he has been quiet is because he is nursing those tyres. Maybe he is doing the true one stop here.
Yeah, who knows? Could be the case. He started from far down the grid, so in P9, Danny van der Niet and Johnny Simicic are battling. Van der Niet is not giving Simicic much room. However, Simicic has got the inside line here coming into turn 7. Turn 8 is going to be for Danny van der Niet, still side by side. And Simicic has got to get that position up for now. Very close on the inside, a little bit of a tap. Simicic loses a lot of time there, needs to watch out for his teammate Mitchell Hoyer behind as well now.
Yeah, that's it. Danny van der Niet could not fight off Patel and Sandro. But against Simicic, he seemed to put up a right fight. He wanted to get those boxing gloves out and everything. Mitchie Hoyer is right behind his teammate. So Mitchie Hoyer has actually made up so much time due to all his fighting up ahead that he's been able to catch up. And let's hope he can start to pull off some team strategies now with Simicic and get a little bit of slipstreaming. But Simicic, of course, had to make the overtake there on the straight. So Hoyer's got to deal with Van der Niet.
Simicic isn't done with Van der Niet yet. Van der Niet had the switchback there out of the second to last corner. Now out of the last corner. Van der Niet is going to have the DRS on Johnny Simicic coming up to turn 1. Here we go. On the outside, Simicic has the fresher tire, so surely Van der Niet can't stick it around here. It's too far. Is it though? He's trying to keep it around there, but he needs to watch out for Hoyer now as well.
Yeah, Hoyer, I thought, was nearly going to stick his nose in where it shouldn't belong, up in the tyres of Van der Niet, but good braking from him. A lot of late braking actually to be able to close it on in. Hoyer thought about it, he nearly got the inside. Didn't quite work that time. I reckon Simicic is safe. He knows to keep his distance here. And it's going to be Hoyer who's got to deal with Van der Niet now.
Yes, indeed.
Whilst this is all going on, just look ahead for Patel, De Sandro and Bergerac. They're just being able to run away a little bit downfield, aren't they?
Yeah, they're gaining a lot of time on Johnny Simicic because of that battle with Danny van der Niet. Now they are catching up to Janos Bratchuk though. Let's see if he will give them a big fight like Danny van der Niet did to Johnny Simicic. Opening the DRS for Mohamed Patel now down the back straight. Bratchuk is going to take the defensive line for Mohamed Patel. Is it going to be enough? Late braking for Patel, I think, is going to have the corner for him.
Yep. Bratchuk there being, I think, quite wise in the sense of he just allowed the position to be handed over. Just seeing as well, Stephen Michaels coming into the pits. He was on the medium tyres, so 17 laps. That's how far he thinks those mediums will go for him.
Yeah.
So hards, I'm looking at probably between 20 to 22 if the drivers started on them for me right now.
I think that's a fair expectation for the hard tires.
And yeah, the 25, I don't think they can do 30, but 25, 26 for the end of the race. If a driver does decide to use it right at the end, you know, where fuel is a lot lower, so there's less stress, less weight on those tires, but we'll have to see. If they're choosing the hard compound here, what are they going to use at the end? If we're thinking 20 odd, then it could be 2 hards, or like we said, the full rain, and drivers going to be finishing off on the mediums, where if they finish on the hards, they can thrash them all they want. If it's on the mediums, they might have to be a bit careful with them.
They do, definitely.
I've seen Bratchuk, he's sticking right in between Patel and Sandro. Sandro here will get the DRS, which unfortunately Bratchuk doesn't have, and will be able to make it past. Super easy, just a prime example of what DRS does. Near enough, like a boost button essentially, to be able to get on past. And Alessandro doing wonderful work there, so clean to get past, and Bratchuk unfortunately down to P6. He will get the DRS now off of Alessandro, but he's got Bergerac behind to deal with now. Simicic unfortunately has fallen off quite a little bit, about I think 2 seconds behind, and Mitchie Hoyer is just subtly nursing behind him. You can even see Gosby behind Hoyer catching up to the rest of the lads, and like I said, Gosby earlier on must have used up a lot of fuel then. So here, this is him probably driving the more economical stint of the race on these hards for him, and we could see him really thrash it out on the mediums later and just try and get a lot of speed then.
Yep. Just looking to Petr Biljak, he's having a bit of difficulties getting past Janos Brakchuk. Jurne Simoncic now closing into Petr Biljak as well because of that. And Mitchell Hoyer for that fact as well.
Yeah, if we just look at Brakchuk's doing roughly about a 138. It fluctuates a little bit like below and above that, but considering the drivers ahead, Mohammed Patel doing a 136.6, it shows getting stuck behind Brakchuk has really hurt these drivers. Petr Biljak now just going on past is going to be so happy. You can see him near enough explode away, try and get as far from that slow coach as possible. But again, it's the difference in strategies here. Janos is going for a completely different strat from everyone else. And he's just driving his own race. You don't care about these other drivers. There's nothing gained from him just letting them on pass. He's just going to stick to his line and go quite comfortably. He's being the turtle here in this hare and tortoise race.
Yeah. Meanwhile, on the front, Yuri Kasdorp still leading the race. Obviously not theoretically leading the race because he still has to do his pit stop. But he's got a 4-second gap to Ricardo Costa, who's basically on the same strategy, or at least similar strategy to him, which I think looks very promising for Yuri Kasdorp.
Yeah, just seen Patel actually go and set purple, 136.390. He was over a second faster than Kasdorp that lap. This is an interesting one for me here, Felix, because of course Kasdorp has got those older tyres. Straight from the start, they've done 19 laps. So we can see the difference in pace just from the age of the tyres as well there. Kasdorp again might be doing a lot of fuel conservation, so we'll have to see how it plays out. But you can see Patel here is wanting to get him as far down the track as possible. It's got Alessandro behind him who's just outside of DRS, so I don't know if he'll slow down maybe to try and get his teammate into it. Not looking like it is Petr Biljak is going to be able to grab DRS of D'Alessandro. Simoncic, and he's got a problem now. He's got past Brakchuk. He did it quite cleanly. Mitchie Hoyer's behind Brakchuk now. But Simoncic does somehow have to find over a second just to get back within DRS zone.
Yeah, it's like we said earlier, these back markers coming in between the battle of the front runners really can stir up the pot quite a lot and create like gaps of 2 to 3 seconds between the drivers.
So at the moment, I'm keeping my eyes on Mitchie Hoyer for his overtake on Janos Brakchuk as well. Geoffrey Fournier has been closing in on Ricardo Costa right out front. Those two non-peers are getting rather quite close to each other. They are teammates, but I mean, racing orders, they might not have them. Just whoever wants to be the fastest, go for it, you know?
Yeah.
Team Petr Biljak as well has set himself the fastest lap of the race so far, going 0.3 faster than what Patel put down earlier. So Biljak wanting to close in on Alessandro and make an overtake probably next lap. He is getting quite close, but he hasn't had the opportunity just yet.
Yeah, definitely is getting close. Maybe Michele D'Alessandro realizing that his sister teammate behind is quicker than him and might pass over the torch. But I don't know if he will give up that easily. Maybe he'll give himself like 1 or 2 laps the time to regain the pace that he's missing right now, and then try to pull the gap down from Patel again.
I was just watching Martin Gosby's onboard cam. Brakchuk was so slow throughout turn 2, 1 all the way through to 4. It really shows, because Gosby is now right on the tail of Mitchie Hoyer. Hoyer needs to get past Brakchuk soon, because this is really costing them time. You can see Simoncic getting far down the field. He's over 1.5 seconds now ahead of Bradshaw, and it's just quite cleanly making sure that he can conserve fuel, because you can see by his times he's not pushing here. He's waiting for later end of the race for him to really use up all that fuel. And you could also say he's waiting on Michi Hoyer maybe to catch up behind to try and then do it together. But these two lads are struggling to get past Bradshaw. Bradshaw has been defending wholeheartedly throughout this race.
Yeah, and simply his pace is still pretty good compared to these guys that are on fresh tires. He's also not dropping that far away from Jonas Simoncic and Petar Brojak in front of him. Now, Lukacek, who is, I believe, also on fresh tires, is now catching up to Michi Hoyer behind and Martin Gosby. So the ACR guys are kind of in a ghost speed sandwich right now.
I didn't actually even notice that between Bradshaw and Lukacek. Like, Bradshaw has been defending so well that it's slowing these two down. To which Simoncic, if I'm him now, it's just got to be, okay, put on a bit of pace to try and close in on Petar Brojak, because he can see them ahead, but it is 2.5 seconds that he's behind them, which isn't a nice number really. It's a sort of no man's land of insecurity there. But like you said, Lukacek really close behind Gosby and Hoyer. Could fancy his chances if Bradshaw tees up an overtake, you know, by doing a weird line, which could allow Lukacek to close in. I'm going to look as well, because Brojak, he's getting close to Alessandro. He has been thinking about it so much. Currently only 6/10 down. Both of them will have DRS. Tell a lie, actually. Alessandro does not have DRS. Brojak closing on in. I don't think he's got enough track to handle it. Yep, you can see. But on the grid straight, maybe, just maybe, he could do it with the DRS. Patel has just left Alessandro behind. And now Brojak is giving it his all. He wants to get in between those and make a Jona Lessie sandwich out of this whole situation.
Yeah, Patel is now catching up to Fournier and Ricardo Costa, both of the Ormila SimSport drivers, who have been doing a great job on their hard tires. 22, 23 laps now, same as Yuri Kasdorp, that's still leading the race. But Patel, I think, is going to have some troubles here getting past these two drivers. We've seen it already with Janos Bradshaw, Michi Hoyer, and Jonas Simoncic and Danny van der Niet, that it's not easy to get past these back markers, even though you have the pace advantage compared to them. So we're going to have to wait and see how Patel can get past these two drivers, because if he doesn't get past them quickly enough, Michele D'Alessandro and Petar Brojak will catch up to him again and potentially challenge him for the win.
Yeah, for Jonas Simoncic and the ACR lads, that's almost like a silver line into this whole situation of being stuck behind Bradshaw for so long, is that Patel and Alessandro, even Brojak, will have to face these guys. The only problem is here, Felix, that we're expecting these front three to pit very soon. Like, I've got my eye on Kastorp at the moment, just seeing if he will keep it on the inside. No, he's going to continue on. He's got another couple of laps, he reckons. Fournier going to stick out. And remember, Costa and Fournier are from the same team, so they will share a pit box. So they've got to communicate who's going in first. Fournier getting really in close to Costa there, being very careful with his teammate. And Patel is a little bit antsy behind. He's not too sure where to put this car to get an overtake around here.
Yeah, it's difficult. These first four corners really don't cater much for an overtake. We've seen people do an overtake here into turn 6, but still you have to be very brave onto the brakes to make that move stick. And mainly the overtaking spot is the back straight out of turn 13. And I think Mohamed Patel is setting himself up to do the overtake there as well.
Yeah, we've seen it a couple of times around turn 6. Through turn 7 and 8 as well, where you're just trying to go basically with the most amount of speed you can carry through into it. But the dodgy old time. Well, he's quite happy, I think, to just slipstream behind. Maybe this is him conserving a bit of fuel, knowing that these guys are going to have to pit sometime very soon. And so he's just quite happy to stick behind. They're going at a decent pace, to be honest. They're all doing 137. So as long as he's getting this DRS, able to conserve some fuel, Patel, who's technically out at front, be quite happy with this situation.
Yeah, I think so, but you have to also consider Michele D'Alessandro is closing quite a bit. Same goes for Petar Bojak and Jonas Simčić to Mohammed Patel now. Gap is down to less than a second between Patel and D'Alessandro right now, and Patel I think is hoping for these drivers in front of him to come into the pit lane right now, but I'm not sure if they will. Might be even going further for even more laps, because their pace still looks pretty decent compared to these front runners.
Yeah, it's almost, I want to say, odd, because for them to still be out in these hard tyres is just breaking all sort of expectations here, meaning that these hard tyres can do a lot if you know how to handle them, which is fantastic for these lads running it out front. Actually, when we were looking at practice, Geoffrey Fournier was just using that hard tyre fully, and he was just making sure, I'm pretty sure I saw him be able to do 28 laps on it, and I don't know how much fuel he had it. If that was 28 laps on a full tank starting off, then he has gone and broken all expectations there.
So Patel with the DRS now, closing into Fournier, but Fournier has the DRS from Ricardo Costa in front of him, so it's not easy for Overtel to get the overspeed down the main straight even. Fournier locks up slightly, and now Michele D'Alessandro and Petar Bojak are right behind Mohammed Patel as well.
Castor coming in.
All right, so first
Costa going in.
Right, and Fournier stays out, so surely Patel will be making light work of Fournier right now.
Oh, as you say it, look at that on the outside. Patel going to be able to carry a lot of speed around here. And Fournier will have the inside, and yep, it's not enough. Fournier there breaking a little bit, keeping it slow, keeping Patel behind in check. But that was some lovely defense coming out from Geoffrey Fournier.
Indeed. Just a quick update. Yuri Kastrup onto the medium tires. Ricardo Costa, I think, on the hard tires. But that's strange, because he started on the hards, and he's doing another stint of hards now. You would think he would go to at least another tire, because they need
to go to another tire now. So exactly. Ricardo Costa is doing a 2 pit stop.
Exactly.
Looking at where he can get here, you'd thought it'd be, you know, hard, medium, soft, and finish out that way.
Yeah, or even hard medium, do the 1 stop, which is tricky, because you would have to do 30 laps on the mediums right now, which is very difficult. They've seen they only did 26 on the hard right now, so it's still a bit weird to me. Maybe he'll do another hard stint for the next 20 laps and then go to a soft stint and fly on those tires at the end of the race. Might be strategy, but maybe not the one I would have preferred. Now Patel coming on to the overtake for Geoffrey Fournier.
Oh, easy peasy, lemon squeezy, makes it on pass. Geoffrey Fournier as well probably does not mind as long as he has this outside line, because you would imagine he'd be making his way into the pits. Yep, there you have it. Just going to keep it nice and clean as he makes his way in. It'll be interesting to hear to see here as well as Yuri Kastorp, like what pace he's able to put out, considering he's up in 13th and he's really close to P12 just in front of him. Diano Valeriano is very close. Like,
he's already got him.
Yeah.
So Kasdorp, also his outlap there, very quick. Quickest sector 2, I think, of at least the whole field right now. Sector 1 also pretty decent, and last sector also relatively quick compared to some of the other guys on track right now. However, the man to watch at the moment, Mohammed Patel in the lead of the race again, with Michele D'Alessandro not that far behind him, and also not too far behind him, Petar Bojak.
Yeah, and of course a little bit no, sorry, not off camera. Janos Bratschok is still on those hard tyres. He's had so many guys pass him, unfortunately. Maybe he should be getting into the pit sometime soon. So we saw just from Joffrey Fournier, how much, like, he lost probably about half a second from being out that extra stint, that extra lap, it seems, compared to his teammate Costa, who's just a little bit ahead of him. Not massive amount lost there. That's all just fine and dandy. But now the big thing is to see Simčić 4 seconds behind the leader. That probably make for something a little bit interesting down the line, because there's still, we're only halfway into this race, Felix. So there's still so much to be played out, and this is really just a sight at strategy between these two teams. Martin Gosby and Michi Hoyer together down in P5 and P6 respectively, and they've got Lukaszek really close behind Robin Panzer following up behind them. And so Gosby and Hoyer, are they going to just try and be comfortable there in P5, or have they been saving up enough to close in that gap? Because 10 seconds at this part of the race is absolutely ludicrous. These drivers today have been driving brilliantly.
They definitely have been driving their socks off. But Gosby, they're pretty much on the same strategy compared to the top runners, Patel, D'Alessandro, Burjak. But they are still 10 seconds down, so either in the next stops they're going to do something completely different than what they are doing. I would guess that they are going for a medium stint at the end of the race. But somebody could try going for a soft stint at the end of the race.
I'm thinking that. I reckon you could see Simčić go for the soft and maybe risk it.
Yeah.
We've seen how far that hard could go, even up to 27 laps. So considering they came in at about the, was it 12th lap mark? On the, like, that was the start of the soft tyres. About 14, 15 laps was normal. So if these hards can last another, it's going to be tough, another 15 laps, then maybe you could, not even 15 laps, no, another 10 laps, and you could probably get the softs to the end. Depends on whether these drivers can make them last that long.
Yeah, of course.
Even Ian Burjak as well, he's quite comfortable there. He's within DRS of Alessandro, and he doesn't look like he wants to... I'm trying to think how to put it in the right words. He's quite comfortable where he is in P3. He doesn't need to overtake just yet. He's just keeping it nice and close, not letting those guys run ahead, and conserving a lot of fuel whilst behind, because, of course, when you're following, you've got that DRS, so like I said earlier, you can just conserve a bit of fuel there, and he's just matching their pace. He's doing it quite easily as well. It almost feels quite comfortable for him.
Yeah, could mean that he's also saving everything up for the end of the race, and then in the end of the race just gonna fly past these two drivers in front of him because he's got so much more fuel to use. But I doubt that these drivers in front of him are that ignorant to that fact, so I'm sure they will be at least trying to counteract him doing that.
Yeah, like we're thinking here, Alessandro will probably be thinking the same sort of lines as Burjak there, with Patel maybe having to go onto the medium where he's been out in front a little bit longer, and Alessandro might be able to challenge the idea of the soft tyre, but I'm thinking from these two, they're just going to keep it safe. Their pace has been absolutely top-notch today. If they can just play it safe while staying ahead, it's happy days for the two Alessi lads.
It definitely has been.
An eye back as well to Martin Gosby and Michi Hoyer. Nothing gained, nothing lost for those lads. Like, this has just been everyone cranking out the same sort of times. If anything, Lukaszek and Panzer are closing on in. They're a few temps up upon everyone else setting the fastest laps. Piero Pieve has just actually set the fastest lap so far, all the way at the back on the hard tyres. Another thing of note as well, how close this race has been. No driver has been lapped yet.
Yeah, Theopiv, like you said, is the last driver right now. He's only 1 minute and 10 seconds behind the leader of the race. So considering lap distance is roughly 1 minute and 37, 38 seconds. Still a bit of a way to go before they're gonna lap Theopiv.
Yeah. Will be interesting if, like, we have a race when no one gets lapped. It's a rare sight, isn't it, within Formula 1 these days?
Yeah, it is. I'm having a look further back the grid. By the way, Stephen Michaels and Ricardo Costa are battling for P12 pretty fiercely. Obviously, Costa is on that different strategy on the hard tire, which surprises me.
Costa's got it.
Yeah.
Ooh, Fournier. Super close there. Costa braking a little bit late, going a little bit too far maybe. Fournier's having a little try at it with the inside line. Will be able to pull it off. Stephen Michaels, eat your heart out. These two lads have just been able to make it past. Quick note as well, Fournier is on the medium tyres. That was a good move from Stephen Michaels actually on the inside. Fournier had to move aside for him. But yeah, Fournier on the medium tyres, whereas Costa, his teammate, on the harder tyres. So these two lads are now on different strategies to each other.
Yes, indeed. Like I said at the beginning of the race, I think we're going to see a lot of different strategies working out in the end and all coming together. We've seen it in the other series as well, that at the end of the race, all the different strategies sort of come together in little packs and battle with each other, and which will give us, I think, quite surprising results and stir-ups in the latter parts of this race. Still, what is it, 24 laps remaining, so I guess the first pit stops for the front runners are going to come in roughly like 10 to 14 laps.
How about Lukaszek? How about him coming in right now? He's just coming in. He's taking off those hard tyres. This is very early. And he's put on another set of hard tyres. So that's 2 hards and a soft he's going with today. So this hard set of tyres has got to be to last him the entire race. I'm looking at this pit stop here, and it's got to be some plan of his. Like, it's a very unconventional one because that tyre should have still had a bit of life in it. But we'll see how it goes. Maybe it's because he's come out into some really clean air and he's quite, like, happy just to be able to control his own pace now.
Yeah. Now, Jeffrey Fournier and Stephen Michaels are also still battling hard. Fournier trying to find a place to put his car next to the car of Stephen Michaels.
Fournier wants to get ahead. He's on the softer compound.
Yeah, he definitely wants to get ahead.
If Michaels is really hurting this Costa Fournier sort of like partnership they had going, because realistically Fournier should have been able to get ahead, you know, and start shooting off down the grid. But no, Michaels has denied everything there. And of course, Costa's got Valeriano right ahead of him and Bradshaw ahead of him. And I don't think Bradshaw still is yet to pit.
Yeah, he still hasn't pitted. He's still on his first set of hard tires.
That's ludicrous. 33 laps in. He's still not pitting.
Surely that's the one stop.
So what are we thinking? Hard tire and then onto the medium afterwards, of course?
Yeah, so right now it's 23 laps remaining. If he does like another 2-3 laps, 20 laps on the mediums, when we've seen somebody do 17 in the first stint. Obviously, there's less fuel in the car at the end of the race, so with a lighter car is a little bit less tire wear. So you would think that 20 laps on the medium is definitely possible then.
Just saw as well, because keep an eye on Lukaszek after his early pit stop. On his, I'm going to call it an outlap, you know, after he's just changed, so his tyres are really cold. He set sector 2 and 3 as purples. So it shows there is so much time to be gained by these drivers. By the end of the race, we could be seeing 134s.
Yeah, who knows? Especially if some drivers go to the soft tire. the quickest tire that we have available here in China. That's gonna be some flying laps done there.
I actually can't wait for that. Like, if any of these drivers are going to attempt that soft to finish up on, or if they're going to just stay to the mediums, nice and safe. We'll find out, of course. Keep an eye as well. Villariano coming in close to Bradshaw. The battle for P9 is on. Villariano on the outside. Bradshaw holding it close on the inside, but Villariano will have the inside four. Turn 16. He don't need it. It pops on ahead. And, well, that has got to be him running off with it. Bradshaw might have the DRS, yes, but those tyres, the difference is night and day.
It definitely is. Like we said, Bradshaw hasn't pit, so his tires are basically screaming and almost running on the rims. But he seems to be able to at least somewhat keep the pace up. Right now it's 24 seconds as Ricardo Costa makes the move as well onto Janos Bradshaw.
Good move.
What I was saying, about 25 seconds to the lead of the race. If he does a pit stop less, that's roughly 20 to 25 seconds of a gain that he gains by not stopping that extra time. So, who knows? Maybe he's going to even challenge for a top 5.
Ricardo Costa has to pit again. You've got to remember this because he's gone from hard to hard. So he's got to put on a soft tyre at the end. That's what we're thinking anyway, ain't it, with that strategy. So it's a little bit dangerous, I'd say, right now. But Costa up in P10, looking at everyone else around him, they've got a pit as well. So Ricardo Costa is fine for the points. Great little recovery. Like, the hard tyre drive for him has been fantastic. Michaels just gets it past Bradshaw. Robin Panzer is into the pits. Now, what tyre is he going to pick? 20 laps remain. 21, actually. This has got to be mediums. And yes, it is.
So where's he going to drop down to? I guess right behind Lukacek. In front of Lukacek even, I think.
Bradshaw coming in as well for those mediums. Yep, Panzer just ahead of Lukacek. So that really actually shows to me the time loss from being behind Brožák, that Lukacek had to deal with, you know?
Yeah.
That means as well that Ricardo Costa is up into P9 for now. Remember, he's got to do another pit stop. As Lukacek is on the hard tyres, and they should be able to see him through to the end of the race. Robin Panzer on the medium, that should be able to see him. Just seen Stephen Michaels, unfortunately, slide a little bit sideways across some grass. Well-controlled spin, but those tyres, they're going to have flat spot quite a bit from that. And maybe soon we'll see him come into the pits. But that does mean that Geoffrey Fournier is up into the points, P10 at the moment. And with those mediums, you'd expect him to be able to catch up on his teammate who is trying to make the overtake work onto Villariano. Breaks very early there. Not going to risk it just yet, but he's lining it up. Michi Hoyer from P6 is looking to get those mediums slapped onto his car and then start the final stint of this race right. Yuri Kastorp, member on those mediums as well, is up in P6.
Yeah, it's still not entirely clear for me what he's going to do. Is he going to hit again? He did, what is it? 30... 27 laps on the hard. So on the mediums, I guess it's too long to go to the end of the race now. So you would think he's going to go for another stop to the soft tires after this. But still, who knows? Maybe he's going to go all out, go for the one stop.
Well, for me, looking at this, I can't see him doing the one stop. Like, that is too bold. But for him to be able to get up into the points, because from how his driving has been going today, with a I was about to say a slow tyre, a soft tyre, sorry, right there slapped on at the end. Yuri Kastorp has gone from P14 into the points. Like, he has done incredibly well today.
Definitely. Now Hoyer is rejoined right behind his sister teammate Robin Panzer. Surely he's not going to give him too hard of a time. However, Panzer is on the same strategy, and Michele D'Alessandro is into the pit lane. P2 of the race. Let's see what he's going to go to. 19 laps remaining in this race. So surely that's going to be medium tires for Michele as well.
Keep my eyes on it. That's another hard set.
I think it's another hard set indeed. Is that
Godspeed's just coming
on
as well
purpose?
onto mediums.
I guess it's on purpose, yeah. That's a bold or really safe choice. I'm not sure what to
Valeriano
think.
is in as well, and yeah, that is a very safe choice. Patel, what is he going to do? Is he going to go to another hard set? Or we were looking at this going 20 laps left. It's got to be the mediums. Yeah, you can see everyone else, Valeriano, coming out onto the mediums as well.
Everybody else is choosing the mediums.
Alessandro, buddy, have you made the wrong choice, or is it purely because he wants to rag it around on the hards? Then they can take a little bit more punishment, can't they?
Yeah, you can use more of them. But will that in the end pay out? I don't know. We've seen in the Pro Series that a driver that took the risk of taking the softer tire dropped down in the last lap, actually dropped 2 or 3 positions. Maybe Michele was watching that race and thought, let's play it safe. Let's take the hardest tire. I can just not worry about my tires anyway. Just push as hard as I want and I'll take it to the end of the race.
Go have a look at the battle for P8 right now. Robin Panzer, last lap, was 1.3 seconds quicker than Stephen Michaels in front of him. You would think with the DRS now that he's going to be able to catch up, take it on the inside. He's going to be trying it. This is coming right down to the wire, of course, because these DRS zones are perfectly measured. Look at that on the inside. Panzer driving Michaels right to the edge, but that is all fair play here, and Panzer doing an absolute beauty of an overtake to secure himself P8.
Yeah, Stephen Michael also giving the respect, leaving the room there on the inside on the apex for Robin Panzer. Great bit of battling between these two drivers.
Yeah, now it's down to Michi Hoyer and Martin Gosby. Michi Hoyer actually just getting a little bit of a slide from the curb. But yeah, Michi Hoyer, when is he going to make the move? Because again, on those softs, he should be faster than Michaels. We've seen the near enough 1 second speed difference between those hard and medium tires. I reckon it's going to be either before turn 11 or we're going to have to wait a while into the DRS
We should have a
zone
look at
on
the
the
lead.
back state.
Petr Brojak is going to make the move, and Mohammed Patel coming into turn 14 around the outside, late braking for both of them. Who's going to have the corner? Patel squeezing him a bit to the outside there. Petr Brojak is going to have the inside here for the last corner.
Could have the DRS as well, actually.
Oh, they make contact, slight contact there on the rear tires. Now DRS for Petr Brojak actually, because he made the move before the last corner, and Patel, nothing he can do about it, loses the potential lead of this race right now to his sister teammate Petr Brojak.
That was probably the best overtake in this race, purely because knowing to hold back on that DRS detection point, that when it comes up to the next straight on that grid straight, that Berjak had the DRS there for him to secure it. Beauty of a move, weren't it?
Yeah, amazing job by Petr Brojak there.
Now I'm having a look as well to Simoncic. He is now 7.6 seconds behind Patel in front. He has dropped off the pace of these other guys, and it is all down to him just sort of being off on his lonesome. His two sort of teammates behind as well have already pitted, so expect Simoncic to come in relatively soon. But what was a top 2 start for Simoncic, as soon as he dropped down to 3rd, he was just halted and he's stayed there this entire race, hasn't he?
Yeah, he had a great launch of the line and initially led the first 2-3 laps. So after that started to drop back down and hasn't been able to really find back the form to challenge the drivers of Jean Alesi Esports and Edge Esports in front of him.
I'm looking now actually for P4. Yuri Kastor has got D'Alessandro right behind him. D'Alessandro being the first driver to drop down into the 134s this race, and 134.861, is looking over 2 seconds a lap faster than Castor. Peter Bergerac coming into the pits as well. Got my eyes on him. That's going to be another set of medium tyres with 16 laps to go. This was when we thought the soft strategy might be coming into play.
Yeah, might. And I think Petter is taking the safe choice right now. Maybe Patel, because he is potentially in the disadvantage compared to Michele D'Alessandro and Peter Bergerac right now, might be going to the soft tire. Because right now the gap from Patel to D'Alessandro is 20 seconds, which would mean that D'Alessandro has jumped Patel, roughly, if Patel stops now. So Patel, if he goes to the soft tire, might have a chance to make the attack on D'Alessandro and Peter Bergerac, of course, because potentially he's in front of Patel as well now.
Yeah, I'm having a look on that. Like, if he goes to the medium, then he is going to be roughly around Peter Bergerac as well. That's where he's going to pit out anyway. What with Bergerac being 22.5 seconds behind, that's roughly 23 is what we thought a pit stop was around here. So the option of the soft tyre has got to be enticing now for Patel, where his teammate Alessandro would just be looking to defend for the rest of this race against Bergerac, who has got Castorp right in front of him for now, but we expect that to change within the next 2 laps, don't we?
Yeah, and Patel goes into the pit lane. This is going to be interesting. Where is he going to finish?
Soft or medium as well? Does he risk it for the chocolate biscuit? Or is he going to play it nice and safe? It's safe.
Yeah, he's going to go
safe. Mediums.
He does have the freshest tire of the bunch, but he's behind D'Alessandro. He's behind Kasdorp. He's behind Peter Bergerac. With a bit of margin as well to Petar, about, what is it, 1-2 seconds?
Yeah.
So he's got some catching up to do. Still provisionally on the podium, Jone Simicic is the last guy of the front runners to make his pit stop. He'll be coming out roughly behind Patel as well.
You're saying provisionally on podium. Sandro is currently provisionally on podium if he can hold off, because remember he made the really early pit stop for the hard tyres that we were very confused about. Of course, we think that Bergerac and Patel will be able to get ahead of him, considering they're only 2 and 4 seconds behind respectfully. Castorp, he's got to come in. No, he doesn't have to come in, but we don't expect him to be able to get these mediums to last long enough. Simicic here, I reckon he's going deep on these hard tyres, and he is going to try and go for one last fight on the softs.
Yeah.
I actually got my eye on Simicic right now to see if he is coming into the pits, because this is where we roughly expected it for the soft tyre. But no, he stays out for another lap, so he's definitely got to be the soft tyre coming out from him. Just seen Bergerac go past Castorp on the back straight. Nice and easy. Patel, a little bit too far back for that DRS. Once again, Castorp will have it. Castorp actually just going into the pits there, so that's the mediums done for him. We'll see if he reckons he can get away with the soft tyres from here, actually.
14 laps. Possibly, if he plays it safe, he goes to the mediums. If he doesn't play it safe, goes for the soft, and I think he plays it safe for another set of mediums. So, he's coming out in P10. Yep.
Oh, and Danny Van Vliet right behind him, coming in on the mediums as well. So yeah, Yuri Castorp is near enough in a world of his own up there in P10. His teammate right behind him, actually, Giordano Villarano, is on the mediums as well. We only pitted, I think it was 2 laps ago, 3 laps maybe. And so both of these two guys have locked out P10 essentially. I can't see him really catching up onto P9 with Lukaszek, who is out there on the hards, but is a solid 12 seconds ahead. Like, P10's probably the best that that pair can do. I'm having a look at, because everyone else seems to be on their final set of tyres apart from Simicic.
Yeah. I think could he?
You just heard in that ear that we reckon Simicic is going to the end. It's possible?
He stopped for his hards in lap 14. He just did his personal. Okay. It's a tough call. He would do 41 laps on the.
So, okay, because we saw him drop 9 seconds behind the rest, and we were like, he just doesn't have the pace. Like, thinking of it in that sense, because he wasn't getting any DRS. But what if he was just purely conserving? And now he's currently 12 seconds ahead of P2. If he can keep conserving, if he somehow makes it, he could get pole. This is going to go right down to the wire, but I honestly think he's going to be dropping into those pits, coming out just behind Robin Panzer in P5 and then gunning it on a soft. To me, that is the only logical strat, but think outside the box, SimRacing. We back it. If you can make it work, do it.
Yeah. I'm flabbergasted. It's a bold call to do 42 laps on those hard tires, if he's going to actually do it. But Peter Brojak behind 12 seconds on the mediums. He is a second a lap quicker, basically, making the overtake on Michele D'Alessandro right now. Mohamed Patel behind that, also a second a lap quicker than Jurgen Simčić. It's still 13 laps, so 12 seconds is going to be close. Also considering Simčić's tires are going to be absolutely destroyed at the end of that stint.
Would be indeed. It is an interesting one. Not got any fights really going on here. It's coming to a little bit of a lull of the race where all the drivers are setting up. We've got no more pit stops really to be going on, like we said, unless Simčić.
Gospi and Nichihori P7 just had a bit of contact, inter-team contact, not the best thing to have between teammates. Nichihori got past Martin Gospi, I think, but not exactly what we like to see. And no. I'm sure not exactly what the team boss of ACR Zakspeed likes to see.
No, that's it. I was not expecting that. Hoyer might have a little bit of damage or something running out that wide. I'm going to be keeping my eye on him. But that does mean they've lost a bit of time to Ricardo Costa just ahead, who seems to be able to run away with it. Memories on those hearts and will be going right into the end of the race. Or did we... I can't remember. Did Ricardo Costa has done 2 hards? He's still got a pit.
I guess he's going to wait for as late as possible to get the freshest soft tire that he can possibly get. If he stops now, he's going to drop back to P11, roughly behind Kasdorp. He could challenge Kasdorp for the last podium or the last point position.
P11 behind Villirano.
Yeah, tough call. Maybe it was a mistake from Costa that initially gave him the hard tires. Maybe it wasn't. Let's see. He's coming into the pit lane right now.
He is indeed. So possibly the last pitter. What, with 11 laps to go, it's got to be the soft tires. Easy peasy.
Yeah.
You go for the mediums and you're probably giving up a lot of pace to be able to climb a few spots there. Especially when he's going up against 2 medium tires as it is. Kastorp just going ahead of him, Villirano. Coming down the grid straight as it is now. He will pop out in front of Costa. But Costa on those softs, he has got a target in front of him and he's got to hit that bullseye. Because with 11 laps remaining, he's got to gain that 1 spot to get at least 1 point. Kastorp might be a little bit too far ahead. I'm looking at it now, considering Kastorp will be about 10 seconds ahead of him. But Villirano, who's only just up the road by 2 seconds, not even that really, should be easy pickings for Costa.
So Simčić staying out. Yep, another lap. I think he's gonna do it. Last lap, 35.5. This lap, 35.6. So the pace
keeps his pace. It's gonna be hard. Like it's gonna be right down to the wire. I'm looking at. He's roughly about 1 second a lap slower just a little shy of that, like 0.8, 0.9.
Yeah.
10 laps remaining. That is just enough. ACR Zaxby with Jerne Simoncic could have come out with the ballsiest strategy of them all, but if it works, it works.
Definitely master strategy for ACR Zaxby and Jerne Simoncic there. If it works out, still 10 laps to go. Hasn't been sealed yet, and definitely if Feder Boyac and Michele D'Alessandro and Mohamed Patel as well are able to get the pace up, they might be able to challenge Jerne for the lead of the race, for the win of the race even.
And my eyes at the moment are on Alessandro, who's going at roughly the same pace as Bergerac in front. Bergerac on the medium tyres, Alessandro on the hards. Alessandro being within range for DRS, and he will grab it right now. But Patel, with those really fresh medium tyres, is closing in on them. Like, it's nuts. He actually, unfortunately, got the same time last lap, but he's not had any DRS. So he is making roughly a gain just from the medium tyres on the other two by about 4 tenths a lap. You can see he is closing in, trying to get right in close to potentially regain P2, because that is still on the cards for Patel here.
True, but are they going to risk losing time battling compared to Jerne Simoncic if they have the chance to catch up to Simoncic?
When it comes to Alessandro and Patel, you would imagine Patel might be just let through to hopefully try and run it.
Yeah, I don't know.
But they're not going to have Bergerac there allowing them to sort of just run through him, are they? Unless these two sister teams get along that well.
Yeah, I guess the possibility is there, of course, but we're going to have to wait and see what happens. 9 laps to go.
It could, I reckon, with Sandra and Patel, it will be those two fighting over quite cleanly for who gets P3. Because Edge Esports aren't going to be allowing P2 to get away from them. Simoncic is probably quite happy with the predicament going on behind and will just keep driving his race. Then just comes around to these last little spots, because looking for P6, you've got Michi Hoyer, Martin Godsby, and Lukaszek all there within 2 seconds, front to back of each other. And that is still a lot of points up for grabs if Lukaszek can jump in front of the 2 ACRs in front. Alessandro as well is closing in on Bergerac in front of him. He's just trying it. Last lap he got in 2 tenths. Going to be having a look at what he can pull off this lap. I think he's a little bit slower, unfortunately. Yeah, he's just lost 1.5 tenths here, Felix. So Alessandro is battling with Bergerac, just essentially waiting for the right opportunity to jump ahead. He's using up these harder tyres, like, and making them work as well as the medium tyres. Just shows there's a lot of power behind Alessandro's technique to be able to make hard tyres work as they do.
Yeah.
So, as it is, with 8 laps left to go, Jerne Simoncic leading by 8 seconds. 8.5 is the current differential for the last sector. Peter Bergerac in P2, right beside him, but essentially 0.7 seconds behind is Michele D'Alessandro. In P4, Mohamed Patel, Robin Panzer in P5, off in a well of his own, really. Michi Hoyer leading the train for P6, and I think I just saw Michi slide a little bit. Martin Gosby right behind him from the sister ACR team. Lukaszek in P8. He is so close behind Gosby's car. He's going to be looking to make an overtake, surely, on this straight. The only problem is Gosby will have DRS from Hoyer in front. Let's keep our eyes on P8 here from Lukaszek. You're going to be able to see this train of cars. Lukaszek seems to have a cleaner exit, and so does have a couple of kilometers per hour more than his opponents in front, but you can see where they both have DRS. He's able to close in, but he has to really brake hard to stop himself from going into the back of Gosby. He's struggling here, Lukaszek, to be able to get the upper hand. Michi Hoyer and Gosby are playing a perfect sister team game, aren't they?
They are. Well, we saw a bit of battling between them earlier, a couple of laps ago, that might have hurt them. But for now, it seems that they're starting to work together a bit more.
Definitely, probably told by their manager to cool it out, cool it down a little bit. Don't go and lose P6 and 7. They're fantastic places, of course. Talking about places, P9, Yuri Kastorp. Again, off in a little race of his own today, where he's had such an, I want to say, peculiar strategy, starting on that hard, going to a second hard, I do believe.
No, I went to the medium and then
hard,
again medium.
Yeah. Yep. Ricardo Costa, who's currently on those softs in P10, doing the hard, soft for him. I doubt he's going to be able to catch up on Kastorp ahead, even though he does have that softer tyre. He's making about 0.8 seconds a lap. So it is sort of possible if he can really make it work, but that'll come right down to the wire for him. P11, Viliano. Again in his own little world. Bradshaw just behind him. Geoffrey Fournier trying to take P12 away from Bradshaw, but these two are having a little bit of a tussle and nothing gained from either of them, really. Stephen Michaels quite close behind. Danny Vandenit a little bit further down the road. And then in P16, the back of the grid, Heo Peeve, but once again, within 1 minute, 10 seconds, not a lap down upon first runner. Everyone today has had a brilliant race to be able to keep it this tight.
Yeah, exactly. Unfortunate for the 6 drivers that DNF'd. Quite a few that were involved, I think, in the lap 1 incident. Now, though, the gap between P1, P2, 6 seconds right now. Last lap, over a second gained by Peter Boljak.
Oh, quickly, P13 right now. Geoffrey Fournier being able to get it on the outside past Steve Michaels, but then getting it taken right back. Geoffrey Fournier is really trying. Heo Peeve coming in right now from a set of hards. He's got to be going on to those softs and just trying to claim fastest lap. What do you think here, Felix?
Yeah, that would be probably right. Doesn't gain you any points, unfortunately, the fastest lap. Ooh, Michele D'Alessandro is getting past Peter Boljak. They are not gonna make the move for P1. I think that will hurt them too much.
Alessandro did what Boljak did to him earlier.
Yeah, exactly.
He's got the DRS. Alessandro has taken P2 back and will look to hold on to it. Remember, Boljak does have the softer tyres. He's on the white mediums. Alessandro on those orange hards.
Yeah, they are worn out more quickly. Like I said, Michele Alessandro might play it a bit more safe, but at the end of this stint, of course, he's going to have a bit more tyres compared to Peter Boljak and Mohamed Patel, who've worn their tyres more than Michele D'Alessandro has.
The strat here is for Alessandro to slow down Boljak so that Patel can sneak up into P3. That's got to be it. Because Patel, unfortunately, is just outside of the DRS from the two in front. So if Alessandro can slow Boljak down by 3/10 on this lap, then Patel can get back into the DRS and potentially claim that spot. It looks like that's what's currently going on down. So I reckon Patel has got to be within the 1 second mark. Just looking at them here. We'll have a little looky-loo when they get up to the DRS point. This been another ace maneuver from the Alessi guys. It has, as Patel opens that DRS. Of course, Boljak in front will have DRS, but this means Patel is closing on in. The battle for the podium is not done just yet, especially when Boljak will be wanting to get back into P2. Everything is still so hot here in the last few seconds. The Chinese Grand Prix has been good to us, Felix.
It definitely has been, and it's still not over. 5 seconds between Simoncic and D'Alessandro, 4 laps to go. If the last lap for D'Alessandro was a bit slower, of course, because of the battle with Peter Boljak, but if he can keep up the pace that he did the lap before, 34.5, Simoncic is starting to drop pace a bit. 36.1 last lap, so that would be 1.5 seconds in just that lap.
quick look at P6, 7, and 8. Lukaszek is picking up the pace. He's trying to get him really close to the drivers in front. He knows he's got to make the move now, but sooner rather than later in his eyes, it seems.
Yep.
Hell, we were talking about it a little while ago, is now within half a second of Buryak. So he'll be looking to cause a bit of deja vu for the lad from Edge. Not what you want to see. You do not want to tumble to fourth when you were up in P2 only minutes ago, only laps ago. So harsh from the guys from Alessi, but it is what it is. That's what racing is. POP, like we said, is looking to set the fastest lap of the race. Just went fastest in sector 1, a new personal best for sector 2. Wicked, and yes, that is fastest. 1:33.8 coming out from POP.
Right, Simic last lap, 35.6. Miguel Alessandro last lap, 34.9. So that's only 7/10 of a second.
At that rate, Sancho can't catch him.
No.
Can't be done.
3 laps to go, and the gap is 4.2 seconds. I reckon Simic's got it in the bag. Right now.
I'm trying to like gain whatever I can from looking at Simic's like dash, and he doesn't have tire temperatures or whatever on there, so I can't like just sneakily look at how those tires are doing, Felix, which is a little bit unfortunate. I wish, because some drivers do set up their dashes with like tire wear and all of that sort of left on them, but not for him. He's making us work for this. And he's definitely worked for this potential win. It's still, of course, on the cards because Alessandro is only 3.5 seconds back. Sorry, it's actually just closed on. Simcic has just widened the gap this lap to 4. Don't know how he's doing that, gaining speed in these last little bits, but he is making wonders happen. Buryak and Patel behind with DRS, looking to catch up on Alessandro. So, coming into the last couple of laps here, and Simoncic being the only one-stopper shows what those hard tyres can do. Just near enough. The only one ballsy enough to use just 2 sets of tyres. The soft and then the hard. We thought it could work with maybe a hard and a medium, didn't we, before the race, Felix? But a soft and hard, we ruled out near enough. What with, they could go for 30 to, I think, 33 laps in the pro category, but with an extra 10 laps here in WC, we thought, no, you couldn't do the one stop. But Yerne, he knows how to surprise us.
He definitely does. Last lap, 35.9 for Simoncic, 34.8 for D'Alessandro, 34.7 for Buryak and Patel. Same lap time for them. So 2.5 seconds, 2 laps. 1.1 seconds is the gain last lap. I reckon it's going to be close. If they get within the DRS in the last lap, maybe we've got to keep our
eyes on Alessandro here, because of course he's got Buryak just right behind him, who's got Patel right behind there. But you can just see Simoncic's car off in the distance get a little bit closer each and every corner. It's I would not want to be in Yerne's car right now, just looking in the rearview mirror at this pack of cars near enough closing in. Patel going side by side with Buryak. Buryak holding on to P3, but Patel definitely wanting to fight back. Will have the advantage here. Looks like he's a little bit faster out of the turn, however. So Patel with the DRS, with the slipstream, goes to the outside. Is wanting to follow Alessandro's lead, wanting to follow that line. Too much pace, so he'll be right on the outside. He's hoping to continue it into turn 3, but no. Has to cut across. He does have a little bit more speed than his opponent in front, but will lose it as he has to keep grip. And it's so hard through turn 3 there to maintain grip.
Yeah, it's the last lap as well. Gap now 1.3 seconds between the two drivers. If Michele D'Alessandro can get into that DRS for the last 2 straights, I reckon if
I can't see it.
If he's ballsy, he has a chance. A very slim chance, but he has a chance for the win.
You're thinking he's got to torpedo it on turn 14, essentially.
Something like that. But
Will
here we go.
Alessandro
He is,
risk it?
I
Let's
think
have a
he
look.
is within the DRS. Maybe just outside. Let's see the DRS open.
I think it's just outside. I thought it was. I'm
on
having a quick look at race
edge.
view, but
I think it's
right on the
outside.
edge.
Yeah, it's outside.
It
No
is.
DRS for D'Alessandro. SimRacing is slowing down a little bit on the straight. Maybe fuel saving. I think it's gonna be it for SimRacing. Not much Michele D'Alessandro can do here. So last corner is gonna be for SimRacing as well.
Last corner for everyone as well. It looks like I'm just having a quick look through, but that is it. SimRacing approaching the finish line. Whew. Pole to pole for him. He has had a wicked first two races here in China, being able to pull off the one stop when no one thought it was possible from the soft tire. And how close he cut it. Earlier on, we thought he was just pulling off due to lack of speed, but no, the strategy came out. The man with the big brains, 200 IQ plays coming out here from Jone Simčić, as he will take home the trophy from the Shanghai circuit. It's been absolutely phenomenal driving from him. P2 coming home with silver will be Michele D'Alessandro. Petr Berjak will go with P3. P4 to Mohamed Patel. Robin Panzer in P5. Martin Gosby takes P6. Michi Hoyer takes P7. Lukaszek takes P8. Yuri Kastorp in P9. Ricardo Costa being able to squeak P10 and the final point. And then the rest of the pack to finish will be Valeriano, Stephen Michaels, Geoffrey Fournier, Janos Bratschok in P14, and Danny Vandeny in P15. I saw Peyo DNF in P16. I think that was just within the last couple of laps, so he'll probably just hold on to that.
What a race.
It was a fantastic race right down to the last minute, you know?
It definitely was. What a strategy. I mean, SimRacing, we said it before for 1,000 times now. We never expected that one stop. We've seen pro drivers do 30, 35 laps, maybe even on the hard tires, but to do 42 in World Championship conditions at the front of the pack is definitely no small feat. And he had 1.1 seconds to Michele D'Alessandro on the line, cutting it very close. I think one more lap and he would have lost the position to D'Alessandro, or maybe even Berjak and Patel as well. It's definitely a masterful strategy, but really, really ballsy from Jone Simčić and ACR's X-Speed. But they have to get credits. Let's move ourselves to the other channel for the interviews on Discord. So we're gonna switch over to that, and let's see if we can get Jone Simčić's reaction about this little strategy.
Right, so we're just going to bringing in Jone now for the interview. First of all, Jone, absolutely cracking race. If you were to give a number of laps left in those hard tires right at the end, how many laps would you give them to be able to go on further?
I mean, I could do 20 more, but the lap times would not get any faster.
I like the spirit, because yeah, you were losing out about a second there at the end. You must have been looking at, say, race view or just the gap closing on in that very last lap. Just to recite it to you, you did a 136.937, whereas Alessandro behind did a 134.950. Were you sweating a bit towards the end, thinking the strategy could maybe not work?
Yeah, I was checking the gap every lap. I saw that they would have to gain over 1 second, and that was steady. But then I saw Michele like closing in 2/10 every little straight, so I knew he was probably boosting. Probably had a few left, and I had none. And yeah, then I just did quali mode in the corners and just kept it in the front to avoid any DRS.
So going from winning in Australia to winning here, two very different races, of course, two very different tracks. If you could just give us like a little glimpse into the mind of Yerne, how do you train? How do you set up for each race when it comes? Because you've got to learn all complete different layouts, don't you, when you go from track to track?
Yeah, well, funny story. We had a test race a few days ago, and I was average on pace. And after the end of the race, I blamed strategy that didn't work out. But then someone sent me a screenshot of the results file and told me that I had TC and ABS enabled. So then I had to completely relearn all the corners because I was locking fronts, sliding rears all the time. But it gave me like 5 extra tenths. So in the end, yeah, it was crazy.
But yeah, because you do lose from having the assist. You're allowed them, of course, but you do get the penalty. Essentially, your car's made heavier, isn't it?
Yeah.
So of course, where your car is that little bit heavier, it's the same as having to relearn the track from when you've got a lot of fuel right at the start at the race to the end. Like you know the limits, the same as you would with different tires. So coming up to the next race, I'm just trying to remember what that is because I'm terrible like that. Coming up to Azerbaijan, isn't it? It's Baku, a street circuit. So we've near enough gone the full sort of three different types of track you can have. You looking forward to Azerbaijan and potentially getting another pole there?
I believe Baku is one of the best and most fun tracks. It's like twisty street circuit with long straights, which I love. So low downforce plus those like braking and traction zones. I mean, I love fast corners, but for some reason in like Singapore and Canada and single tracks, I really enjoy driving and do well. So I hope it will be the same case in Baku. And also I hope that someone will not give me like a lot of damage and a little bit suspension damage in the first corner.
That's the same for every race, ain't it? Though, just not get wiped out there. So before we go, any final words, any little shout-outs you want to make, Yone?
Massive thanks to Robin for all the help through the last.
Oh, cute. So next in the casting booth, I'm going to be throwing this on over the Petter Berjak. Petter, they're fantastic race from you, by the way, dude. To be able to snatch third away from the Alessi guys, how did you find yourself having to deal with essentially two tigers there trying to get onto the podium?
Yeah, thanks. I think we're all a bit disappointed because Yerne made the one-stop work, so congrats to him. I think we were focused a bit, maybe too much on ourselves. So it looked like if we just stayed where we are, that we would catch Yerne like with 1.5 laps to go or something. So yeah, it was really, really close. But from my perspective, I was trying to manage, and then when I was close enough out of the onto the back straight, I tried to pass, tried to use the engine, but it wasn't easy to follow or to pass. But P3 is okay in the end.
Oh yeah, you've gone from podium to podium, so it's all good, and you're currently sitting at second in the drivers' standings behind Yerne. Do you think Baku next month is going to be the one which you can snatch away from him?
I have no idea. Baku is a bit of a unknown. It hasn't been an FSR before, so we don't really know. Um, as a track, Sector 1 is kind of boring, but the rest of the track was fun. And there'll be a lot of opportunities to pass, I think.
Well, yeah, definitely with that big long straight, you always see the overtaking there, and of course, then you've just got to hope Yerne might get caught up in a little bit of something. Of course, you don't really hope for that. You just want to overtake him truly. But looking for Edge Sports, you came in last week with that win. How are you guys developing yourselves for each race? What's your sort of like strategy coming in?
Did we win? You said.
No, I said, how are you and Daniel preparing
Oh,
yourselves for each race? I said you were second on drivers' rankings.
Um, well, for me, I'm doing 2 leagues, so I have to thank my teammates on that for preparing a base setup. So I just joined in kind of with 5-6 days to go. So they're a big help, and I mean, there's nothing much to it. You do stints on tires, you check the strategy. Like this race, for example, we knew one stop was possible, but we thought two stop was a bit faster, so we went for the safer option. Uh, but it didn't pay off this time.
Unfortunately, not. It's a shame, really. Felix, any questions from you, buddy?
For now, not. But I guess we're gonna. Michele Alessandro isn't unfortunately available for an interview, so we're gonna get Mohammed Patel into the room for us instead. Finishing in P4. How was your race, Mo?
Firstly, I have to say huge congratulations to Yerne. He did an amazing job. I think we can all say that he did some great strategy. I don't think any of us expected a one-stop or thought about a one-stop in practice. My race, if you would have told me that I was 1-2 seconds behind Petter and probably faster than him even on the mediums, and to some extent carrying Mick and Petter on the hards, I would have been really happy. But to finish fourth after leading for so long is a bit of it leaves a bit of a sour taste. So yeah, it's one of those.
It's one of those things, and you just got to come back stronger next week. Sorry for cutting you off, Felix. There.
Don't worry. At what point did you realize Jörne was on the one stop?
I kind of had the feeling in the when I saw that he was doing like 36 mids and we were doing 36-0, 35 high. It didn't really make sense that he would be that he would still be two stopping. It was just we didn't prepare for it in practice, so we didn't really know how the hards would work after or under 40%. So now we know, and hopefully you can take that on to Baku or wherever the hell the next race is.
Yeah, it's Baku. So the one Lessie Sports Academy has just jumped from being fourth on the. Is it fourth on the?
They were second together with
second
together with Edge, same amount of points.
That's it, and now they've just jumped up into second. You guys happy, especially with the teamwork today? You could obviously see that both you and Sandro were talking continuously.
I don't know. I think we're all here to win. So when you're naturally in fourth after being first for half of the race, you're not really thinking about the championship. And to be honest, we're in round 2 of the season. So yeah. I don't think that really matters where it comes into anyone's mindset right now. Let's just make sure that we make a good setup for Baku, and make sure that we can be fast not only in qualifying but also in the race, because Yerne is a bit faster than the rest of the ACR guys. So we had the rest of them covered off, but Yerne was in a league of his own today. So hopefully we can close that gap and maybe be in front of him for the next race.
All right. I think that's enough further questions for now. Thank you, guys, for joining us here in the commentary booth. Jörne, Simocic, Mohammed Patel, and Petar Biljak giving us a few words after the race. Corey, yeah, what a race we've had. Amazing battles. Strategy has been a huge part of the race, and I'm just speechless, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly the same. So I reckon we better start wrapping this up. Once again, quick rundown of the grid. Jörne Simocic takes pole, going to come out with the full 25 points. That then leaves Michael Sandro in P2, P3 for Petar Biljak, P4 for Mohammed Patel, Robin Panzer in P5, P6 goes to Martin Gosby, Michi Hoyer takes up P7, Lukaszek takes P8, Yuri Kastorp in P9, Costa in P10 to round out the points. Guys, we're going to be gone for a few weeks. We come back on the 5th of May when we hit Baku up. It is going to be a fantastic street race. I know I'm definitely looking forward and excited for it. Felix, you excited for it, buddy?
Definitely. It's a great track, and like the driver said here, it's going to be an interesting race as well.
Yep, so make sure you hit that subscribe button on YouTube so you can keep updated for when we go live next time. Make sure that bell icon is, you know, all doing the bell thing. Make sure to head on over to the Discord server and follow on Twitter to keep updated with everything. But for us, we'll see you in a month's time in Azerbaijan. Good night.
Dark blue front rear left.